Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 4th Committee of the Whole meeting. Hello, gallery members. Thank you for joining us. Hello, CAO Lockwood. Welcome back.
Thank you, I think.
Mayor Irvin is unable to be here this evening, so I will be chairing on his behalf. So let's get right into it. Can we get a motion to adopt the agenda?
I will make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Councillor Paquette.
I'll second.
Thank you, councillors. Burtis. Any amendments?
Your worship, that something that needs to be addressed is under new and ongoing business is the town hall meeting, which is scheduled for October 3rd.
And then not an amendment or an addition really, but I believe we also have an in-camera item to discuss today.
Okay.
So we'll be doing that as well. Okay, all in favor?
Okay.
Thanks.
As
As amended. Thank you. So we have the minutes from the September 20th. Is that right? Oh, yeah, the September 20th, sorry. Adopt the minutes of the September 20th meeting. Can we get a motion?
I'll motion to adopt the minutes of September 20 meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? I didn't have any, the only thing was that, I was reading the part, where we were talking about the, highways, the welcome youth on highway sign, that's in the sad state of repairs that we're hoping to get replaced. I was just thinking we should also request that the one at the other border be replaced as well. Just because it says the one sign there, if you guys agree with that.
Your worship, to the record, I've been dealing with the Department of Highways previous to this since I was away at the hearings time. But I brought forward a whole bunch of signs that they need to deal with, and they were here and met with my staff on the week of the 20th. So that list of signs went forward, so I will confirm that this one is on the list as well.
Okay, thank you. All right, all in favor? Okay, great. So we also have the draft minutes from the special meeting of September 29th, 2022.
Make a motion to adopt those minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. All right, so we have the two open payables reports because we tabled one from the last meeting because I believe you some of you had questions. So can we have a motion to pay the open payables from September 16th in the amount of $81,729.57?
Make a motion to pay those payables.
I will second.
Thank you. And any questions?
Yes, so 60689.
Welco Beals, that is the, I believe, the wing for the grader. We ordered in your capital budget, your 2022 capital budget. You had approved the new wing for the grader, new bucket for the loader and new forks. And they're all from Welco Beals. And I'm not sure which one this is, but that's one of those capital purchases.
60679.
679. Gullivan International, that is the last order from capital budget as well. That is the last order of turnout gear for the fire department. The turnout gear has a 10-year lifespan based on health and safety. And we've replaced, council's approved that we replace the 30 sets of gears over 3 years, and this is the last year's purchase. And now we're fully compliant.
That's it.
Thank you. I had the same question. Councilor Slager, any?
No, it was on the next batch. I got a question.
Oh, okay. All in favor? Oh, sorry, Councilor Kett.
I'm good.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And your worship, for the record, can I just make a comment to council? If I'm not available or, Shannon, who actually my position isn't available in the meeting, I ask that you approve the minutes and then ask questions later, because when you don't approve the payables, the checks don't go out.
Okay,
Oh,
So this delays
Thank you.
those bills being paid. It's different when I'm here because I have delegated signing authority. And I sign the checks no matter what they go out, but if I'm not here or the person who's acting in my position, and Shannon didn't, because of the situation, she didn't approve these. So these checks will be going out tomorrow, so that's been a 2-week delay.
okay.
we'll,
in people being paid.
certainly make sure that we do that going forward. It was certainly a rare
And
circumstance.
it was, yeah, it was sort of the perfect storm because I have the spending authority and I would have signed these and they would have been gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, no problem.
Thanks for clarifying that.
So moving on to the current accounts payable from September 29th, 2022. If we can have a motion to pay the open payables in the amount of $249,405.24.
I'll make a motion to pay the account payable of $249,405.24.
Thank you, Councillor Paquette. In a second.
I'll say,
Thank you, Councillor Burtis. Comments?
60694.
6-9. That is Northern Enviro, and that was for hydrovac work on the dig on Nahanni.
oh, 60722.
6022 or 722,
Yeah.
sorry. Steve Carlo, that is the consultant firm that does our water, groundwater monitoring, our well monitoring, and all our water sampling under our water license.
Okay.
In previous years, you would have seen it as John Gibson, but John Gibson retired, and this is the lady that's taking over.
And 60710.
7-1. Oh, Jet Ice. Jet Ice, that is the paint supplies for the skating rink and curling rink. That's the color
Okay.
of paint that goes in the ice.
Oh, okay.
For the color. Ice is not like.
No.
I was just curious about the ATCO payments. There's 3 really close together there. Is that just the days that they were posted, or do we have that many payments in 1 month, or is
We
that
have,
just?
we have, we get 3 different ATCO bills.
Oh, okay. And yeah, okay.
Based on our account size.
Thank you.
60722, you already did that one,
Yep.
Steve Pro? Okay, thank you. Thought you did.
Yeah, I have the same one. All right, so all in favor? Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Do you have anything?
0707.
Elevator Yukon.
Yeah, I know it's Mr. Stackhouse, his company. Was that for services rendered when he came down and visited us, or?
Actually, that check is on hold right now because that was for a trip that he was scheduled to be here and got canceled, and I noticed it today. So I had Caitlin pull that check. So that is for him. That's for the Northern Lights Center consultation stuff that was supposed to happen on the 19th. Yeah, and he was sick. So I'm not sure how that one got through, but I actually pulled that one today, and sorry, I was gonna note that for you. That bill will be the same amount when he does come, so it's just on hold until that trip is completed.
So that's much for Amber trip.
No, that's other report stuff that he's done,
Okay,
and there's 2 of them coming down, there's him and the other partner in that consulting. And on top of that, that was to deal with some of your strategic plan stuff. So there's numerous hours worth of work that goes into that. And that is all part of that's being compensated. That whole amount and more is that consulting is being compensated by economic development.
Gotcha.
Our Light Center project.
I was just curious, because didn't know it was a combination of things
Yeah.
rather than. But that was just the end of all the things you've done so far during the summer and like,
Well,
build this all at once.
yeah, some of it is, but it's all based on the Northern Light Center project.
Okay, and last one is 60714.
714. Liard Engineering. That is for surveying of the sewage lagoons. It's a requirement of our water license and it has to be done every year by a certified engineer.
Gotcha. Just because it was such a round number, it just seemed,
Yeah, and that's typical Mickey. Everything's round number.
okay, really.
Makes it simple. All right, anything else? Okay, all in favor? All right, so next is correspondence. His worship, the mayor was in receipt of a letter from the Standing Committee on Public Accounts. The chair of that committee, Curry Dixon. And they are seeking feedback from the town of Watson Lake on any feedback that we may have on the Auditor General's report that came out on Yukon Housing Corporation and the Department of Health and Social Services. They're seeking any feedback by November 25th. So if anyone wishes to provide feedback, please send it to administration so that they can compile a submission. All right. And then next we have the Francis Avenue lift station and lot zoning, and I will ask CAO Lockwood to take it from here on.
Sure, so I listened to the minutes of the last meeting and see there was lots of confusion going back and forth there. I wasn't able to get in touch with Kevin Fisher since I've been back, but I looked back on my previous stuff and the lift station location is at the corner, is where it shows on that map that you guys have in your packages, and that's where it's always been. And then there was some confusion with the confirmed zoning for block 61, which is the end of Francis. The end of the inside lot on Francis and the inside lots or the outside lots on Liard, on the outside section along the bush there. And that zoning is proper. It is it's in the new OCP as urban residential. So that is fine. So I guess what really that we need is that just direction from council that approves me to continue dealing with Kevin Fisher and Lance Branch on the proposed lift station and proper zoning for those lift areas.
So, urban resident, that's R1, right? Not
Well,
residential mobile home.
Well, no, it's urban residential in the OCP. So
Okay.
then that's the new catchphrase we have for all residential zoning,
Okay,
right? And then the zoning bylaw narrows it down to R1 or RMI. But so for this matter, for them, all they're concerned about is OCP compliant.
Okay.
So that's the big thing, and it is OCP.
So we're looking for a motion to direct administration to continue working with Lance Branch to implement the lift station, the development of the lift station.
And the zoning, proper zoning for the lots.
I'll make a motion to. Now that is something else, to allow administration to continue working with Kevin Fisher in respect to the
Development of the. lift station
development of the lift station
And the lots.
and lots.
I will second that.
Thank you. Comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for dealing with that.
Yeah, sorry, it was something I felt like in here, I would have dealt with it, it probably wouldn't even get consistent.
So number 8, CAO report.
Much to report. I actually walked out the door on September 2nd and shut my email.
Oh,
That's the first time ever I've taken a month and not looked at an email and I'm just totally unplugged. So I didn't turn my email account on until I went to bed on Sunday night and I woke up to 292 emails. And and that was not including everything that had been directed to Shannon and dealt with over the month, so. Yeah, so I'm probably only about 100 and some emails into my pile, but I can tell you that we've made some significant strides on the municipal services building deficiencies. And you've probably seen since last Thursday, Arctic Backhoe's been in town and they've been dug out all the sewer line and stuff that there was issues over the municipal services building. And it's been reinstalled and compacted properly and the grade is right. So that it's one huge thing off our list. And they've advised us that they have the rest of the deficiencies complete. So we've have an extension, inspection again, scheduled for probably either 19th and the 21st of October. And the only reason it's that late is that our consultants aren't available until then. So the only thing we have outstanding over there is some warranty issues, which they're working towards, which doesn't affect us actually fully using the building. So that was huge. As you can see, the landscaping out here is done. And the only thing that's outstanding on that contract right now is the sign being installed. It's ready to be installed, so we're just waiting on that. And the other thing that we're supposed to do was clean the parking lot, which they didn't do. And then the other thing that's going on, and it was advertised around town while I was off, and it's still continuing, is for the infrastructure upgrades, the water, sewer, streets. The surveyor has been around town for the last week plus, and he's still working diligently. That young gentleman's making lots of miles from what I've seen. So they're working really well ahead on that. So we're waiting on an updated schedule as to when the tender documents are going to be ready to go, but we're aiming for February for that. So that way the tender can be, or the tender can be, contract can be issued for work prior to snow being gone. And hopefully I'll have news the week of the 19th as to phase 2 funding.
Okay.
So that they're working on that right now. They know that the minister is coming on, you have a meeting with the minister on the 20th, and they know that the minister is going to be lambasted with that question. So they're trying to get their ducks in a row so they can provide us with a good answer. The dry hydrant project is on hold until after the ground thaws in the spring to do the percolation tests on the areas where the dry hydrants are going to go. That's a huge, we were held up. The reason it hasn't got completed yet was they were held up with the heritage assessment on those areas to make sure the sites were in conflict. I'm happy to say that funding for the public waste drop off that we've had for years, that it's been rolled over, that transfer payment agreement was expiring in the spring before, being that nobody bid it this year. So we were able to renegotiate an extension on that TPA. It had to actually go back to management board because we asked for an extension to 2024 and it was approved. So,
Okay.
So I've reviewed the new draft TPA today and I've responded with okay with it and get it signed. So I'll be signing that hopefully the next week. And so that'll be nice. And what's going to happen here, I believe October, in the next couple of weeks, we're re-tendering the public waste drop off now. So that way, Colliers reached out to contractors to see when they would like to see that those tender documents come out. So that way they could be prepared and bid for next spring's work. And the response from contractors was that they would like to see it now before Christmas. So it's going to go out now. So that will actually hopefully get people to bid on it. So, and it's nice, the funding's still in line. Gas tax, we'll have to do a new gas tax application because it's rolling over budget years, but that's a housekeeping issue that we'll have to. Other than that, I'm happy to say that the ice plant upgrades are completed and the computerization has gone well. Currently Simcoe is monitoring it from Edmonton and our staff is making ice. The goal is to have the ice ready to go for not this weekend, but next weekend. So we're making progress. That's fairly early for us.
Yeah.
And the new equipment seems to be working nice. It's actually got lasers that censor the shine down on the ice surface.
Wow.
And it'll actually send warnings to our staff if there's an issue with the plant or, so that way we don't have a failure. It could cost us to lose the ice during any time of the year.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so that was money well spent and that's all part of that energy solutions, energy upgrades for their center. Some lighting isn't done and it's because the lights have gone missing somewhere in transit.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
some of the
unfortunate.
electric is already paid and billed for them. They have not arrived, so they're working towards. And then the other issue that's come up is the dump truck part, which is an admin report coming up here and I'll speak to that.
Mhm.
And yeah, we're winding down our summer staffing. And so we're proceeding ahead. The roof on the rec center. It's got one little piece that they're gonna be down this week to fix, and then they're gonna fix the roof at the ski chalet course as well. While we're down. So those are things. So that's sort of where I'm at. And unless you guys have something question period, I'm gonna keep it today.
Okay,
Thank you.
not bad for not being here for a month.
Well, that was just what I reviewed in the last day.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so we'll move on to the quarterly department reports.
And like, just for the record of your work, I just noticed in the utilities quarterly report, it talked about the Northern Light Center, so there was I think they were working on a couple of different reports at the same time. In the utilities one, it talks about the fuel tank pad for the Northern Light Center has been poured and HVAC will be down in October to hook the fuel tank for the boilers in the NLC building. The NLC building doesn't have anything to do with water utilities, it should be under Parks and Rec, so just,
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that to your attention.
Comments? What do we do?
I just think it's nice that the landfill, I want to just acknowledge that all the staff have their first aid certificates. I think that's great. So the refrigerant removal, who does that? Like
Sorry?
the refrigerant removal from the refrigerators, who does that?
We contract a company to come down. Last time, I think they charged us $20 per appliance. But we charge for those appliances to be disposed of at the landfill, so it's really a wash.
Yeah.
But it's not cost effective for us to have them come down for a few because the mileage is still the same. Right?
Yeah,
Expenses.
sure.
So,
Because there's quite a few of them. Hey?
yeah,
Morrison Hirschfeld?
yeah, they're a consulting company that designed the public waste drop off.
Oh, okay.
And they're also the ones that did the contract went out to do our solid waste management plan for the next 10 years.
Right, and that's what's next.
Yeah.
And then what's SWANA?
SW
ANA.
SWANA. SWANA is this Solid Waste Association of North America.
Okay.
And it's an association that we belong to. And they provide training for landfills and recycling operations.
Actually, one quick question. With the landfill up there, we've gotten rid of a bunch of willows and kind of cleared off the space. So there's the metal, there's the household and construction. Right of that, and in the far back, there's tires. But then we've taken out all the willows there. Is that going to be a further extension of residential and construction waste to build like if it was a pyramid
So
thing built?
So what's gonna happen is, when we had them, they came in when they were doing our plan, our daily operations and cover plan, which is another requirement under the act. They came in and we did a test digging, looking for cover material on site. And because the landfill, prior till when things were regulated, people just buried stuff everywhere, right? So we had to do test dating to see that we weren't dating up other waste sites, cells. So that area became an area that we can actually get cover material for. And the metal material, we're dealing with, two different contractors to try and get somebody to actually get rid of the metal, because we have to move the metal for the next section of the build.
Yeah.
To fill in that corner, and then eventually we'll move towards that other way, but we're trying to utilize as much cover material on site so we can cut down on that cost from hauling it. So that's why those willows and stuff, that's all part of the plan that the consultants designed. It's very methodical, the way we move and fill as we go. So that's the nice part. The SWANA Manager of Landfill Operations course is a 3-day course, and it talks about effective landfill operations and training. It's for staff. And so I've secured 4 seats for our staff on the course, November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So I've got Glenn, Chad Hammer, Chad Rudd, and Gord Potts, who's our co-operator, are all going to be on that course. So that way they know the new standards and all the new things that are going on in landfill operations.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Um,
So if you'd like to adopt the reports when you're done, then we can put them on the website for the general public to look at.
sure.
I think that's what you guys have talked about. in the
I
past.
just had a couple little questions.
Yes.
There appears to be, questions or suggestions from the departments. I'm not sure if that's directed towards you or directed towards us, and I'm not sure how we speak to that or what the protocol is to respond or to have a discussion about those things.
Yes, so if there's questions in there, they should have been to me. I wasn't here.
Um,
because we were done, but are you referring to?
Well, there's
bylaw?
there's bylaw, and then there's also,
Rec center, right?
the rec center, and both of them pertain to money.
Yes,
So,
but I think, yeah, those are things that
And-
it should come to me, and then if it's something that we cannot fund internally, then I would bring them to council during budgetary process.
okay, and then my other, in the ski hill, she mentioned something about the fire suppression system at the ski chalet.
Yes,
And I'm just wondering if that is something that we are, I don't know, seems like a pretty important thing,
I
so
can
that we're,
address that. So
in
that was brought to my attention yesterday when I got back. I reached out to our insurance provider, who told me that if the suppression system has been taken out of service or not certified, then we're not allowed to use the fryer or the range in there. We can still do soups and sandwiches and coffee and all that stuff, but we can't use the appliances. So I had Glenn reach out to fire suppression companies, and I was told today that it was a mistake for them not to certify it. Their practice is that they certify it and then give us 6 months to bring it up to code. So they're coming back down in the next week or so, and they're going to certify it and give us 6 months to work that into our budgetary things, because it's probably a $10,000 hit.
right,
But we will have a certified fire suppression system, and any of those costs for the new system will either be in the O&M budget or in your capital budget for 2023.
I just wonder about people using that, kitchen and stuff during the winter.
Well, it'll be
done by then?
It'll be certified next week
Okay.
or the week after.
Oh, okay, got
We're
you.
gonna be fine.
And then I was just, this line here about that they weren't aware of the fuel tank change at North Light Center, so they didn't budget for it. That's because it's not part of their budget, right?
That's
It's
right.
our
It
capital
was- it
budget.
was in your capital budget.
So that was it for that one.
Usually I review these before we get.
Okay.
done, so.
And then it was just the ask there, and then so that lots of training happening, that's awesome. And we're getting monies from
Yes.
Training Trust, cool. And I was curious what spare VFD is.
That's actually in your capital budget, which is the variable frequency drive.
Okay, well, I just didn't know what the
Yeah.
the-
Variable-
I know, I was like, I wish they would write that stuff out.
variable
One of
frequency.
these acronyms, I have no
Okay.
clue what
It's
they are.
actually, it's in your capital budget, so they might have assumed that you knew from seeing it in your capital budget that you approved?
There are so many acronyms.
Yes.
I know.
It's your fire department.
Yeah, right. Um, okay, so can we get, does anyone else have anything further?
Yeah, so, okay, so the rec center, we talked about the flower caretaker. So is that a union position?
All our positions are union.
Okay, so
Okay.
then was that reposted then when the caretaker wasn't able to?
No, we stopped it internally.
Oh, okay, and we can do that with the union? Okay, so that's written in there?
Yeah, we have to set, we have to advertise positions internally first.
Okay, okay, I just wondered about that because I know that, I wondered if when it came to like the youth that apply for positions, if there is in that job description where they can move between different, departments?
It depends on how they're hired and
Okay.
if they're hired as an attendant, we can move them around. But if they're hired as a Parks and Rec caretaker, it gets tougher. So,
Right,
yeah.
okay, I just wondered, because I was hopeful that that was actually in there.
Yeah, so
That people could have a little bit of flexibility when we hire people and we're short-staffed.
Yeah.
To move people around a little bit, so,
and what the tricky part is when we move people around, if we're moving them to do work in a position that's substantially higher than their hired one, we have to pay them the hours they're working in that new position, that other position at the applicable
At the
rate.
rate,
So it becomes sort of.
It was a little bit of a flip flop.
Yeah, it was an accounting
Yeah.
nightmare, but
Yeah.
Shannon's been dealing with it.
It's been good. It's been
We
good.
deal with the same thing with, let's say Lori Lane, she's the caretaker at the rec center. But if she's covering the front counter, that is a position that's substantially higher than hers. So the hours that she's at the front counter, we compensate her at the higher rate.
right, yeah, no, for sure. I just wanted to clarify
And
that.
that's something that we've got noted for our union negotiations, which will probably be in January. So we're trying to get floater positions actually rolled into the contract.
It's really good. I think that's a great idea.
But there's such a wide discrepancy in between levels and pay that it makes it really hard to have a floater position where maybe they're working at this pay grade, but then when they float to another one, they're making more money than the person that works full-time in that position.
Yeah.
So how do you justify that, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. You asked one question.
Yeah, I just got one. It's under the bylaw one.
Yeah.
It's just that 824 Ravenhill. White trailer, like the owner just says the town can,
Yeah.
like, I just wondered, like.
Does that mean, thank you for asking that, does
Yeah.
that mean we demolish it and it goes on their property taxes, or does that mean
Yeah, like that.
you're doing a tax lien?
Well, no, so
Demolish.
it would be, and I asked this question when I read this report. I asked that question. I said, what did they refer? Are they signing the property over to the town? So it's the town's property, relinquishing ownership? Or are they saying that they're not gonna do the cleanup order and we go in and do it and it goes on their property taxes? Not sure. They're gonna look into it.
Okay, it just looked weird. I
But
was
the
like,
question is, are their taxes up to date?
Actually, they are.
Okay, good.
I do appreciate the work that Bylaws doing on those.
no, same with me. I love it. I love it. I just, when I read that though, it sort of confused me because I was like, we're not in the business of demolishing houses.
The grass is cut and the things
That's
are
right.
put up, so I mean, it's not perfect, but
Their
it's,
vehicles were towed out of the backyard and.
wow, okay.
They were there for like a week. I helped the guy give him some numbers, so it's good.
I
So,
have one last question, and forgive me if this.
Oh, Timon's?
No, burnt house on Highland, Cecile's,
Oh,
sorry, next one.
Forgive me if this is not for me to say, but the front desk term at the rec center says it's been extended due to operational requirements. I was just wondering what those operational requirements were.
It's due to a staff illness. That's one.
Okay,
I had a few more here with the bylaw, so I wanted to just acknowledge that Connie, it looks like she's been really busy in a short period of time, and I think that, she needs to be acknowledged for that. I just wanted to thank her for that. And then she talked about the vet. What's up with that?
So that program, we talked about using that program in the past and partnering to bring them in. So that's on my desk now, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna approach LFN to see if they'll go in with us. Because for us to pay per diems and accommodations for vets to come in to spay and neuter for 3 days, that's really a cheap investment for the municipality, but I think LFN needs to be at the table as an
Part of that, yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's what we're dealing towards, and I guess if you can't get LFN to the table, then it'll be a recommendation to council. It'll come back in an admin report, laying out how much money it would cost us, but facility wise, we have facilities for them to set up and use. So really, we can cost manage that very well, right?
The town never used to do that though, like, I know that they used to come here for,
That was different again, but this is a different
Yeah.
program.
okay,
That vet that used to come was, they were doing for service,
okay.
where this one is, they come in and do it for free.
Oh, I see, okay.
And the only thing they charge is their room, the only thing they request is their room and meals be paid for.
Oh, okay.
So it's a cheap
That is.
thing for the whole community, but
Yeah.
I think with the amount of issues that the Art First Nation's been having, I think if we went halfers on that project, it would be a win, even if they paid for some of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And where would you set them up at?
Other, the old public workshop, maybe even the fire hall, public workshop, somewhere, you can set them up in the training room at the new municipal services building.
Yeah, I just wonder where to set them up.
Sorry. This is not the same department, so if you want to finish there.
No, I'm
okay.
done with bylaw.
I just noticed here in the solid waste report, they mentioned wanting to maybe create an info brochure and or poster to mail out to people. While I think that is an awesome idea, I also think that we used to cover our bases with that in the newsletter, and Councillor Paquette brought this up at the last meeting, and I know I've spoke to this on numerous occasions myself, but there used to be a section in that, and I feel like if they're going to be doing a mail out just for solid waste, then why can't we, I don't know, look at putting some other municipal things on there as well, and or reinstituting the town crier or a version of it.
Yeah, well, we're still working to figure out what's the best solution for town crier, because the town crier we used to occupy 2 staff members' times for a lot of hours, and I don't agree with that side of it.
For sure.
I agree with the information side.
I also,
This one that solid waste is talking about is actually just a pamphlet that people put on their fridge that shows the different types of recycling for bin, and it's based, we're stealing again. It is based off of White Horse's pamphlet that they mail out, and it goes on your fridge and shows you what's the different types of recycling. So
Okay.
it's a
I
totally
see.
separate thing from an information thing that people would read and toss.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And my last thing on this. If we're making this public, is this the wording of this?
You see what you're referring to?
Sorry, you can ignore that. That's last 2 lines, which I can note if you want.
I would amend it a bit, but I think that's something that I would amend, but the gist of it is I'm fine with,
Okay,
because that is the truth.
no, and I know, but it's just
Yeah, no, I would.
the way that comes across.
Yeah.
I
I
don't love-
I would
I love
remove those last 2 lines, but the rest of it, and that's something that it's just a clerical thing that I would remove.
Yes.
So we'll remove that and the rest of it will go forward.
Public Works. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, so public works, so they talk about clearing of trees. Where are they clearing trees?
They're doing the ditches along.
On the scale. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Apologize.
In there it talks about 9th Avenue, 9th Street, Moose Avenue, this road to the ski hill, and anywhere else that the ditches are growing in, we're actually clearing them.
Oh, they're clearing them out of the ditches.
Yeah,
Okay, it
we're-
just said clearing trees. I
No,
wasn't sure. It didn't say
It's
actually.
like the ditch green.
Brushing.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, that's what I wondered. And the other thing I wondered about is, it talks a lot about public works being short-staffed. So I'm wondering, has there ever been entertained the idea of getting like an AOC member to work? And the reason I suggest that is because yes, there is a lot of talk about, we have not been able to provide this or do this or whatever, because we have been short-staffed. And so in my mind, I think like if we were to get an AOC staff member, then they would be trained and up and all trained up, and they would be versatile in doing multiple different jobs. And then when there was a job opening, then you could be like, are you interested in full-time? And then you're not chasing staff all the time.
Our problem is our collective agreement does not allow for an AOC position.
Oh, well, maybe that's something we need to put in our
Yeah,
bargain.
And the other issue is that for any of our positions in Public Works, I've advertised for 2 years before we've been able to hire somebody. So finding somebody even to do term positions right now, it's absolutely impossible. I would love to be there. So that's where we're talking about floater positions and having them cross-trained in their departments. So, and it's almost been like the perfect storm this year with the amount of staff that have been on medical, and COVID and everything else. But I know talking to all the local contractors right now, they're screaming, and I know some of our staff have been approached to go work for other contractors. They're trying to poach and we're trying to poach, so it's a bad situation right now, so.
Okay, so it's something that's on our collective agreement, so I wonder if that's a bargaining thing that we can look at.
Yeah. It's on our list of things.
Okay.
Myself and my management team have already sat down and compiled a massive list of issues that we want to address in this collective agreement.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. That's everything for me.
Which the bargaining on that starts when, pretty soon, I would imagine, because they expire January 1st.
Yes, but we had dates set and the union backed out of the dates, and now they haven't confirmed dates, but we're talking January at the earliest now.
Gotcha, okay.
So
So how does that work if it expires then?
They still get paid at the last
Current rate,
current
or whatever.
rate,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we'd have to do retroactive.
Yeah, the old collective agreement continues till the new one comes in.
We've been down that road numerous times in the past, so
I think,
fortunately, I thought we were ahead of that game because I started 7 months ago. Trying to secure dates, and we did have dates, and then the bank came back to. So, unfortunately, but
All right, can we get a motion to adopt the quarterly reports?
I'll make a motion to adopt the quarterly report.
I'll
Thank
second.
you. All in favor? Thank you.
Thanks, Sam, for clarifying.
Yes, thank you. So moving on, we have an admin report for the fuel card lock tender. So this is the tender for the fuel card lock contract, which was there actually like a report? There was an actual report.
Number 10, yeah.
Hmm. Sorry, guys.
I have it.
1 second. Sure, if you don't mind, that'd be great. I seem to have,
No problem.
I got the supporting documents, but
So this is admin report 22-22. Fuel card lock tender. And this is a yearly tender that goes out. Purpose is to approve the tendering of the town fuel card lock service. So this is for gas and diesel for equipment and vehicles. Background on this is administration posted an invitation to tender for the contract for the town's fuel card lock service. Tender documents were provided to Dull Contracting, North 60 Petro, AFD, Yukon Way, Watson Lake Tags, and the Watson Lake Chamber of Commerce, as well advertised it on the town's website and social media. Administration received 2 quotes, one from Dull Contracting and the other from North 60 Petro. Dull Contracting provided a variable rate with a 5-cent discount off their base rates for gas and diesel. North 60 Petro provided a variable rate with a 2-cent discount off their base rates for gas and diesel. So recommendations, there's two, either accept the quote from Doll Contracting, which is the preferred recommendation, or number two, accept the quote from North 60 Petro. And it's for a 1-year term.
I make a motion that we accept the quote from Doll Contracting, the 5-cent discount. Recommendation number one.
Give me a second.
I will second.
So, yeah,
Okay, conversations. Comments, anybody?
5
You have anything to say?
cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Like that.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, they're both taxpayers, and that was always, the council's always asked the questions.
Mm.
They're both local companies. They-
Local companies with local employees and local.
My, the only thoughts that were going through my head were, how is it possible that they can be so much cheaper than the other, submission? I mean, I guess it just is what it is. And I was also curious why they don't ever bet on our, we send out a request for bids for the building fuel,
They haven't been, Doll Contracting hasn't done home delivery for the last.
okay,
numerous years.
got you.
So,
Okay, but I don't disagree or anything.
Counselor Slager, could I get you to read, to make your motion based on?
Make a motion
what's in
to,
there?
no, sir, I make a motion to accept recommendation number one, that being to accept the quote of Doll Contracting. For which will provide a variable rate with a 5-cent discount off their base rate for gas and diesel.
For a period of 1 year.
For a period of time.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor? Great. Okay. Yeah. So next we have another admin report, and it's regarding the purchase of a dump truck. So we, I will just read this to you. So, this is report number 22-21, regarding the dump truck. So the purpose is to advise council of the change in availability of the T480 dump truck, which was tendered by Inland Kenworth. This truck is no longer available in 2022 or 2023 due to a shortage to the company by Kenworth. This shortage is Canada-wide, so they will not be able to fill this order until 2024. The financial implications. The previous truck was quoted at a price of $222,968. However, we have been approved for gas tax funding for this purchase in the amount of $250,000. The new truck options, if we choose to purchase a different model sooner, are as follows. Option number one is quoted at $252,000 plus GST for a T880, which would be available in mid-2023. Or option two, which is also a T880 with a larger engine, which is available by the end of October this year and delivered to Watson Lake at a price of $262,000 plus GST. This truck is available sooner due to a customer cancellation. Waiting an additional year to receive the truck would cost additional funds for hiring a dump truck for snow removal and hauling cap. This truck purchase was approved to replace the truck that we lost in the fire last year. So this was an item from our 2019-2021 strategic plan. And a little background, the town of Watson Lake currently has an allotment of gas tax funding in our account for approximately $9,365,000. Council had approved a 3-year capital budget, which included replacing our 31-year-old dump truck using gas tax funds. This purchase occurred, and as council knows that our plow truck was destroyed in the fire at the old fireside shop, sorry. Period in weird spot there. We received $45,162 from insurance. The purchase of a replacement dump truck was approved in the 2022 capital budget. This helps us work towards council's 2019-21 strategic plan item for long-term financial planning. Administration applied for the gas tax funding and the town was approved for $250,000 for the purchase. The previous quote, which was approved by council for the 2022 capital budget, was in the amount of $222,968. This was presented at the July 5th, 2022 meeting. On September 9th, 2022, we were advised that this truck would no longer be available. They are offering a couple of different options if we do not want to wait for this truck until 2023.
So it should be
2024. So, couple of options, but the recommendation from administration is that we apply for an increase to the gas tax funding approval based on the new quote of $262,000 for the soonest available truck. Or if approved for the increase in funding, move ahead with option 2, which is the purchase of the T880 dump truck with a larger engine, as this is the soonest available option, which would save funds when having to hire a dump truck. Sorry, are those,
Yeah, it's sort
are
of.
they the same?
It seemed like they're one and the same.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but that's obviously the, anyway, thoughts?
Do I have to make a motion first? No? Just-
I think we can discuss it first.
Okay.
Only thought I have is, just roughly, do you know how much it costs to rent a dump truck for the winter?
Well, I can say that we spent 83,000 extra on hiring trucks to haul snow this winter.
Just one trip, like
That was numerous trucks.
Yeah, I just-
We didn't use any of our own trucks.
Oh, I was gonna say, was that in addition to the ones that we have, but we didn't have any trucks this year?
That's right.
Right, okay.
So it was 82, like, so just say, I don't know.
The other one is 31 years old, got 30 years of service times 80 grand. Or not, you wouldn't say 80 grand, but like,
Oh,
No, I'm just
you need a
saying,
dump truck.
no, I know we need one. No, I just wanted to know what the dollar figure was from when we can get one.
And we just spent another 10 grand since that on hauling out to the landfill because we didn't have a truck.
Okay,
So, I can tell you that when you guys, if you don't remember, when you did approve approve the original purchase from Inland, was the fact that the two other companies that bid on trucks all stated that they could not provide a truck until 2024. So Inland was the closest, and that's the reason that recommendation went in that way. And they still are the soonest based on some modified pricing. And I can tell you that it is not an issue for us to apply for the extra $12,000 of gas tax.
no,
What's-
I just like,
what's
that's,
the timeframe on that? If you apply for the thing, can we get the
Okay.
approval in time for?
I can have it within,
Are
Okay.
they holding this truck?
this truck is on hold for us until the 15th.
I think that that's a lucky thing, so I think that, sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I personally think that we should do it. I just did have one just side question, just for my own knowledge, and forgive me if you've answered this before, but we received $45,000 from insurance. This thing is gonna cost $262,000. So does that 45 get factored into this, or is that been put into something else?
That $45,000 was put back into general revenues when we received it, so that
Okay.
money is available to use. We just put it
But we're
back in
gonna,
general.
but we're gonna apply for the 262, and then the 45 just went into.
It would be cleaner for us to apply for gas tax for the full amount, and then us trying to move some and not doing some for reporting purposes.
Okay,
And besides, that would allow us to use that 41 somewhere else where it's needed, where we can.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
Where gas tax wouldn't apply.
Yes, that's right.
yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Make the motion.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to make the motion that we approve funding and of 262,000. To move forward and buy the T880 dump truck with a larger engine that will be available to us in October.
I was gonna say if you read them,
Oh, that motion on the bottom?
no. it's not.
recommendation,
Read the
Same, yeah, they're pretty much the same.
okay, read,
I think
Aye.
it's pretty well covered.
okay.
Raise to the gas.
Can I get a second?
tax, but based on the new.
I will second it.
Okay, all in favor? Great, thank you. All right. Next, we have the CAO bylaw, first and second reading of bylaw 2207, which is the CAO bylaw.
Your worship, by reading the minutes and listening to the recordings, there was questions, Councilor Slager about 10.3
Oh, yeah.
and of the CAO bylaw versus 10.11 of the council code of conduct bylaw. I see that the mayor had directed Tiffany to reach out to community services for input. And I believe you all have that in your package that covers
You want me to read it?
the wording. I don't know if
No.
it's up to Councilor Slager. If she's
Sure.
fine with the definition or the response.
Well, I like the response from the long version, again, because that is the intent of what I had hoped. And I think seeing as how it's already covered in the code of conduct, 10.11, I think. I think the choice would be either to, it's already there in 10.11, so why does it need to be in the other one as well? We could just scrap it, but it's already there. Right?
Drop the phone first.
Like to just cross out 10.3, because it's already there in the council code of conduct. So, or the other option would be to take the exact wording from the council code of conduct and put it into this. That's a CAO bylaw, not a council code of conduct bylaw. Yet, they're, to avoid any sort of, just make them the same, that's all.
Have the same wording in each.
Yeah,
I like the way it is, only because, the only reason I say that is because when Mike, like his short versions of like, they do not contradict yourselves, and then he even explained why. I understand why, though they don't now. So I think it's fine the way it is. Because it was, the language was sort of weird, but when he explained it to you, it made a little bit more sense.
but language is weird because there's two, when you use or in a sentence, it means that there's a choice. And there's two ors in there and an and. So you have not one, but two, but three choices and a conjunction, which is joining two independent thoughts. You're only missing a semicolon to make it really confusing.
And if the wording is confusing already, then to me, the wording needs to just be clearer.
So if you can either take it out, as far as I'm concerned, or use the exact same wording from the council code of conduct bylaw and apply it to that, and I would be totally okay with that. Because the spirit of it is not so that you're saying to town employees, go clean my driveway. It's, it's, what do you need help with? How can we, as counselors, like, what do you see coming up? And if you're just talking, like, it's not meant to be witch huntery. It's not meant to be malicious in any way, form, shape, or way. It's meant to be, counselors just doing their job and doing their homework on things and finding out, from the boots on the ground level, what's going on. That's all. It has nothing to do with like usurping anyone's authority or trying to delegate unreasonable requests, right? So that's why I say like 10.11, I'd be totally okay with that. But like the way 10.3 is worded, it just like, I don't see why it desperately needs to stay in there either. Right? Like we already have it in one section, because we didn't have something that's ambiguous in another. That's all.
Your worship, the wording in the lawyers is where that's come from, but yeah. See, the intent of it was because of the fact that it has happened in the past where other elected officials have gone to staff and directed them to do things. And hence the reason that something needs to be there.
But that's why we have it in the council code of conduct. So it's already there once. Why do we, you know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, do we need it in two different places and word it differently?
I'm just looking for
The 10.11?
10.11, notwithstanding clause 10.11, it is understood and agreed that all council members shall be free to engage with town of Watson Lake staff members with specific operational questions, and that staff members are permitted to answer questions or direct them to their supervisor or CEO. Any relevant information resulting from the question should be forwarded to the rest of council and the CEO.
See, there's nothing wrong with that.
but I guess where it gets confusing, Councilor Slager, is that you also have to then bring in, write in 10.7 as well, because it refers
She
to.
prefers,
So
yeah,
I think from administration side, I think if you have issues with it, I think you're better off to write in the long version of what community services responded to us as, and then it covers it, and it's clear, right?
I know, but if you look at the long version there, the thing that, I don't know, irks me, I guess, is. You know, like, section 10.3 of the CAO bylaw states that council members shouldn't be in contact with officers or employees. Actually, I think it says shall not engage or shall not,
Communicate,
yeah.
shall not communicate.
Yeah, I know, it's just,
Other than for the purpose of inquiry.
I know, but it's just the shall not. You know what I mean? It's just,
Yeah, then.
why do you need it in there so bad? It's already there in the council code of conduct. You don't need it in 10, you could just like scratch out 10.3 and be done with it. It's already in one spot, you don't need it too.
I mean, I can see where you're coming from with that, that's a rule for counselors, not necessarily a rule for the CAO.
Yeah, it's, why is it in the CAO bylaw? It's a more of a counselor thing, so it's already in the council code of conduct. Why do you need it there? You don't.
You shall have it.
So you could just go omit and be done with it. Because if you are, you know, like I said, it's not.
This is the council.
Yeah, that's the only.
So if it's already in one place, like why are you fighting so bad to keep it in there? You don't think that in council is.
It doesn't matter if it's in there. What's the problem with it being in there though? Like, why, what,
Because it
doesn't contradict itself, so what's the problem with it being in there?
cows, but look at the plain language of it.
But it's, I don't know. I don't understand the problem with it being in there, that's all. Is it's not contradicting itself, it's just another place where it's at, like, what's the difference if we?
Reiteration.
No, it isn't. It's different. Shall I read it out to you again?
I'm looking
Or
at it.
highlight it? Like, I don't know how to make this any more clear to you guys.
I do agree. I feel like it's in, so it's authority, it's under the authority of the CAO. So the CEO, and then it says the CEO shall have the authority to delegate the authority of town personnel to appoint, suspension, discipline, or dismiss any designated municipal office or town employee, and shall, if the suspension is for more than 5 days, or if the employee or officer is dismissed, report the suspension or dismissal and reasons therefor to the council at the next meeting of the council, except as otherwise provided by statute, and that's where 10.3 comes in. So there's it's like an exception, but it's an exception that relates to council. And that's part of the authority. So that's where it's talking about, and that's where I think we need to look at that. The CEO shall have and carry out these duties and authority of the council and duly delegate to the CEO pursuant to the act and thus another bylaw, and shall have and exercise any other powers and duties confirmed or delegated by law or resolution of the council, either prior to or subsequent to the passage of this bylaw, and for greater.
What are you reading right now?
Yeah, I don't-
I'm sorry. Well, we're looking at 10.3, so that's.
But 10.3 is follows up on what's covered in 10.2.
Yeah,
So 10.2 talks about the authority of the delegations for the town, for the CAO.
right,
The authority of the town personnel to appoint, suspend, dismiss any designated municipal officer, town employee, and shall, if suspended for more than 5 days, or if the employee or officer is dismissed, report the suspension and reasons therefore to council at the next meeting of council, except as otherwise provided by statute, which is referring to like the municipal act, this or any other bylaw, resolution, or collective agreement. So we're talking about my authority to deal with the staff and then for other And or for other purpose of inquiry, the members of council shall not communicate with any officer, employee, of town set to the CEO. So we're talking about.
Regarding any of those
Is
things.
those things for disciplinary and hiring and firing.
Yeah, leave it alone.
purposes,
Okay, so I see where you're going with that.
Right, it's not a standalone thing directed at council. It's to do with my authorities on how to deal with my staff.
See, I read it differently,
Yeah.
and now you mentioned that, how it pertains to 10.2,
Yes,
I'm kind of okay with this.
sorry, yeah, but that's what it refers to. That, it's a follow-up, because right, it's the same as, and maybe because I've read the criminal code so many times.
Yeah,
It refers to the
We
previous.
should read it across out.
I've never seen it before, bedtime reading. It refers to, you have to read the whole section as it flows through. So.
No, I-
10.3 refers to the actions in 10.2.
You know what? Now that this has been properly explained and the part that jumped out at me, Councilor CEO Lockwood was the, you know, it felt like it read like a muzzle order.
Yeah, when you're reading it as itself,
As it's
you have to
standalone?
read it as,
But because it's like, wouldn't it be like, shouldn't it be like 10.2-1?
yes,
Perhaps.
but it talks about 10.2 as its whole thing, but the exception is if it's governed by collective agreement, the municipal act, different authorities that would trump what happens in 10.2.
I'm okay with it then.
And sorry, I wasn't here when this discussion took place, or maybe I could have explained it then and it would have.
No, I'm good with it. Okay, well, in
I,
that case.
can I add a
motion to, what's that?
motion for first and second?
Yeah. I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
And that's just for the record, first and second reading of bylaw 2207. All in favor? Thank you. All right. Moving right along. So now we have the procurement policy. 2201. So we're just,
You can make a motion. For discussion.
Anyone else know it?
yes. Fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something burning.
Probably, we've been getting drops of the smoke all day.
There's, yeah,
It's burning, I'm like. "Ooh, hey."
I just thought maybe building.
Well, I know, I smelled it too, I was like, "Ooh."
Okay, sorry I didn't interrupt you guys and get us off track.
So the air handler's running, so it's sucking outside of here.
I'll make a motion to adopt the procurement policy 2022-1.
I will second that motion. Any comments?
Sorry. Sorry.
I think that there needs to be a lot of changes to it personally. I think that this also needs to be brought to the, town hall meeting. Unfortunately, these notes are messy. There was just, I mean, I could just give you these notes if you want, and go through them, and I, things marked on every page, basically. So some of these are, I've already answered myself. I would like to see this go to town hall meeting before, we make a motion on it. Or at least the business community. I think Chamber of Commerce, somebody should look at it besides us. I was curious about, sorry.
Pick one. Which spot, Councilor Hancock, do you have issue with?
Sorry, I just honestly would hope to have time to check this out today, but obviously that just didn't happen, but. So. I guess a section about the illegal or unethical supplier conduct. This is a big one, I guess. All the other stuff is whatever, but so the towns requires its suppliers to act with integrity and conduct business in an ethical manner. The town may refuse to do, sorry, should I read
What
it?
section?
4.1. 4.1. May refuse to do business with any supplier that is engaged in illegal or unethical bidding practices, has an actual or potential conflict of interest or unfair advantage, or fails to adhere to ethical business practices. My issue with that is who decides what is acceptable and what is not, and who, what are the definitions there? Like, obviously, you're bad, like you don't do good business, whatever, fine, that's obviously not any type of thing that we would want to engage with, but like, what are those actual definitions? It seems like it's
In
could
our.
potentially be like
in our-
subjective.
Your worship, in our tender documents, it lays out conflict of interest, bid rigging and all that in every tender package we put out.
Okay, the town will report any suspected case of collusion, bid rigging, or other offenses under the Competition Act to the Competition Bureau, like, obviously, I just didn't see that in the one that we copied this from. It just seemed to all be like added in.
This is verbatim from Whitehorse and from Dawson.
This agreement here? Did we make it?
Other than changing it from city to town.
I'm just wondering, like, does it work for us though then, in respect to what we do here, what we need? Is that what you feel like that it?
That's why administration presented it.
Okay,
And it's been through Whitehorse and Dawson both had it through legal review.
okay,
Whitehorse had it reviewed by, they had actually had a standing committee, which met with Whitehorse Chamber of Commerce, their business group, to ensure that it was compliant, but really there's not much difference in here from what we're doing in our contracting documents now.
and I can agree with that it actually, when you guys put out the contracts that you're giving us, it is very, very, what we're looking for, and when we did, and, you know, the budget and all, that. So definitely, you can see that. And you guys always have more than one generally, person bidding on something, so it's good. I mean, you guys are putting it out there for multiple people to put bids on.
In our tender documents that we use are standard because there's case law in Canada that lays out how contract documents. Tender documents.
Yeah, so I'm not trying to like bite you on like the content or whatever. I just think there are a few things. I think that we are going from a one-page document, which I understand was, you know, Mickey Mouse, for lack of a better term, for a really long time. It didn't really have anything in it, but we're going from 1 page or 2 pages to 28 pages or whatever it is, 22 pages.
Our tender documents now are 100 pages and we put them.
I just stand by my previous statement that it needs to go to the town hall meeting or at least the business community before it gets passed.
I disagree. I think that if it works in Dawson City and Whitehorse, it should work for us as well. Therefore, I'm prepared to pass it tonight. Because there's other issues on the. Your schedule for next Tuesday? No, Thursday. 13th? Good? I know, what do you guys think?
I don't know what the protocol is here.
Have to read
No, it goes,
early, I mean, I haven't read the whole thing.
it goes to a vote, same as any other.
So Councillor Slager is making a motion.
I make a motion to accept the procurement policy 22-01 as presented.
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
In favor?
I have to read it more.
We have a tie.
So you're voting against it, or you're
I'm
abstaining?
voting against it, I just said I have to.
Because if you're abstaining, that's a yes.
More, sorry,
You're abstaining, that's a yes. Versus voting no, which is actually a vote. So if you're abstaining, it would pass. If you're voting no, it would.
It's a tie.
I'm gonna,
I'm voting no because I think the public needs to see it.
just gonna say no at this time. I'll say no.
So what happens?
So what does that mean?
Yeah, sorry.
Does that mean you get a vote?
No.
No?
No,
It
the
means,
mayor or here, you'd be the deciding vote.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
so it'll have to be tabled to the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Be brought forward again next week.
So it's tabled.
So it will be tabled to the meeting on the 18th. For further discussion.
Okay. Thank you. Um. So number 14, town hall meeting.
So your worship, that was brought forward at the request of Urban because he is no longer available to attend on 13th of October.
When is he available?
He is, the only week that he's not available is the week of the 10th to the 15th. The following week or the week after, he is available.
and we have Boston on the 20th, right?
You have a council meeting on the 18th,
Yeah,
and then you have a meeting with Minister Moston on the 20th.
And that's zooming in, right?
Sorry, by Zoom, yes. At 6 P.M.
I'm indifferent.
18th meeting is council meeting?
yeah, ACU Council,
Okay.
Boston 20th.
So it's up to you if you want to have 3 meetings on the week of that following week. But the meeting's already been advertised for the 13th, so we need to make a decision tonight as to where you'd like.
Why don't, Dale, you decide.
I don't know, I don't know, either the 27th or the 3rd.
You pick the date. You have the most hectic schedule of anyone.
Yeah, but I'm flexible, 27th to 3rd, like, I don't know.
Well,
If you want-
we've already advertised as the 13th, but just keep it as such.
Well, I think
The mayor should be here.
It's the mayor's meeting.
I'd like to have the mayor in attendance.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if you wanna try to do it in October still, or,
Well, I think you need to do it then because there's a whole bunch of,
Just take it.
I propose the 19th, but
19th?
we'll have 3 days, 3 meetings in a row.
Oh. Saddest,
My birthday,
I'm just,
my
Oh,
birthday.
I'm batching.
I guess, just get it over with.
Is it
No,
town hall
I'm
meeting?
fine with that 19th. Everybody else is.
yeah, then you can, we'll have birthday cake for you.
At the meeting.
Say your birthday?
Maybe get the 20, we're good following week, because a meeting every 18th, 19th, 20th, that's, no, come on. And it's your birthday. I do, I care for your,
I stick for the 19th.
that's my sister.
And I can inform you that I'm off the 26th.
19th it is.
Unfortunately, and it's an unfortunate situation because we thought we had it all in check, so. It'll be 2 hours. Whatever night it is. And this is your gallery that you'll have at the meeting anyways, so.
October 19th?
I'm fine.
Early lounge?
Yeah.
Sound great?
Is it available that day? Do we-
Yes.
We will make sure we have space at the rec center available.
Somewhere.
If the curling rink is unavailable, we'll be on it first.
Great. Council forum.
What, sorry. The jumping gun. Yeah, something, no? The bylaw that we had with regards to, houses that we know for a fact that nobody's living there, yet we still charge them the $20 for a service we don't provide. I'd like to have that on the upcoming council meeting so we can make amendments to it to fix it so that it reads better. Like, just to fix that glitch.
So,
There's several other ones too, right?
well, that would require you opening up the solid waste bylaw for 3 readings.
Yeah, oh, right.
Yeah. But that fee is covered in the fees and charges bylaw, which is on your agenda for November.
So we fix it there first and then go back?
I would say instead of opening up the solid waste bylaw, I would address, if you guys want to address it in fees and charges bylaw.
Okay. I'm okay with that, as long as we fix it.
But it's on the list, the fees and charges bylaw. The mayor has put that over to the November council dates. So it'll be first to you, November 5th, 4th for,
Gotcha, but in the meantime, we're still charging for people a service that we're not providing.
we have been since.
I know, and that's why it's wrong and continues to be wrong.
Well, yeah, but it's not something that can be fixed overnight. It's even with the fees and charges bylaw, it's 3 readings of.
Okay, well, if we get it fixed by the time we're done our term, then we'll accomplish something, so. Let's make it right.
Anyone else?
Just, the road work that's supposed to be happening in town.
Yes.
What is that supposed to be happening?
We're waiting on, I am the chief, and sorry I missed that in my report, but they were hoping to start this week based on finishing up over here what's the other job they were doing.
Also, I just wanted to ask, what do we do with our cardboard, like the bales?
They go to Whitehorse under the recycling program.
So that we don't pay for that?
It's the freight on that is subsidized. There's different steps and I'm not sure.
And does that ever go up for tender?
The hauling of them?
Yeah.
Yes, YG tenders it every.
YG does? Okay, no, I just double checking. Somebody was asking me, so I just thought I'd.
Thinking of the recycling, why don't we recycle glass?
Cost.
Okay.
Cost, glass is so heavy to haul. Hence the reason that.
We don't brush it here and use it
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
filler?
it gets crushed and goes into the landfill. We use it as cover.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it aerates a little bit.
Yeah, well, we run over it with the hole and break it up and then it's just like dirt or anything else in the landfill.
Sharp dirt.
No, but it's good because it actually allows a little bit of air, right?
Well, we're trying not to put air in.
So you don't want air, in, is that the thing? Oh, why is that?
Because it causes greenhouse gases in or landfill gases. And then also by having gas in there, then it's a potential for fire combustion.
And then when you were talking about cap, is that then the dirt you're putting?
Yes, it's dirt that we put on in between. There's so much under the legislation, we have to put in so many layers of dirt at so many foot intervals. And it specifies how thick it has to be. And when we do it, it's every so many days actually.
Oh, wow. That process.
Anyone else?
That's everything for me.
Okay, I'll go. So flagpoles outside. I was under the impression that that was part of the landscaping project for the admin building, and we don't have any flagpoles of any sort out there.
Yes, because the contractor, it was to be an extra on his contract,
Mhm.
and he's walked away and returned my emails.
So is that something that we can look at in our,
We are trying to
Budget?
currently, well, it's already budgeted.
Okay.
We're currently trying to source them ourselves, which I've sent emails to the company that actually supplies them, and they haven't returned my emails.
and what's the protocol for like, how many there are? So there's like one like Canada flag, Yukon flag, and then is there one for other?
Well, we can,
Other-
it's up to us. We can have 1 pole, 2 poles, or 3,
Okay,
so.
um,
We originally.
it'd be nice to have one for, obviously like Canadian flag, but it'd be nice to have one for like, other
Yeah.
things if we wanted to show support for whatever, maybe, baseball. So I brought this up to Shannon while you were away, and I'm not sure that anything transpired just because of whatever. But the state of the baseball diamond, the baseball players are upset with the condition of it. I guess like the roots and the whatever the condition of it is quite bad. They were hoping to apply for some funding to I don't know, have some work done there. Maybe I'll just read you some of this. So there's an application for the Field of Dreams funding pot, which is, I guess, a pretty established pot of money that they can get every year. But in order to apply for it, it needs to be an organization or a municipality or First Nation. They're none of those things. So they were hoping to apply for it on behalf of the town of Watson Lake to get some money to put towards that. Unfortunately, it's a multi-page form, and there's a bunch of information that they'll need that they that they don't have access to. They were hoping that Alyssa or somebody at the rec department could help them with that because they don't have the capacity or resources to complete it just based on the amount of administrative, what was the term here? Administrative legwork. So the baseball club is interested in applying together with the town to update our field. It will require a fair amount of administrative legwork, which we do not have the capability to do. So we would be relying on the town, but I imagine this will be much better than having to pay millions of dollars for or whatever. I don't know where that figure comes from, but for a new field out of pocket. It would be impossible to play baseball or host a tournament next year without serious upgrades to our field. So hopefully that is something that you guys are willing to think about. So I just wanted to bring that up and see if you guys agree with that or.
Issue like weeds growing in the clay portion of it just need to be disked and raked.
I'm not super familiar with that. Let me see if I can find it here. But it's due, when is it due? It is due on the 31st of October, so there's a bit of a time crunch there. So for that, oh gosh, where is it?
Your worship, it would have been nice if they would have forwarded to me or Shannon, because then we could look at it and see if we have the
Yeah.
capacity to deal with it. I fully agree that researching and applying for funding pots to improve any of our facilities is great, but when we get it last minute, we might not have the capacity to do the work needed last minute, right?
Right. I did mention something a few weeks ago, but fair enough. Would you like something written?
Well, I would
Or
like just.
something, the information, I asked for a copy of the form, to be fair, but it sounds like it's a multi-page digital format.
Well, they can
form,
forward
so-
us the link.
Okay,
we
so
have something to look at.
that's fine. So we can go from there. The other issue is that, I'll tell you this after. Actually, that's it for me right now. Gallery. Anything to add?
I have a question, statement that. But the car lot and North 60 was 2% off of their base rate, and Dow is 5% off of their base rate. Their base rate same.
No.
It's based off of rack rates and they vary, but it's not 2% off, it's 5 cents per liter or 2 cents per liter.
So they're working with the same base.
Rack
Okay.
rates, yes.
I kind of wondered that. Both of them have.
And we found that everybody's rates vary day to day. Because one implements the rack rate on one day and another one implements it 2 days later, and then so. It's very hard to.
They're locked in for a week though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, well, I know North 60 is like, they give it to you usually on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then it's good till the Sunday. So fuel can be going like this.
Yeah.
But you're still gonna be paying that same, that's right, that's right.
Yeah, so that's what, how that's based.
Ruth?
So, this, Auditor General, I haven't read that, but will. Should we as citizens write in and, like, privately about the number of the six?
Yeah, I don't see why you couldn't. This letter was, obviously written to mayor and council for our feedback, but I don't see why not. It's on public accounts, right? Like it's all, that's,
And is it just, the actual motion now or?
sorry, I'm just trying to find that piece of paper again.
It's actually.
I can give you these Ruth, if you want. I got a copy. I got the copy of the actual auditor report, and this is their recommendations and how they're gonna deal with it.
Perfect. There you go. And they want, well, they're requesting feedback by November 25th.
Right, I wrote that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, any documents brought in the public, so I'm not.
One other thing I had was just for our community, this week we're sending parcels out, care packages out to kids that are going up for schooling. We've done since 2000. We've ever sent out, that's been 31.
Wow.
And, this, so far I've got 7, but I'm pending picking 2, so. Yeah.
Oh, excited. Right on.
That's awesome. Thanks for doing that.
When did you start doing that? I was in school, I never got one.
Years for you in school.
7?
Huh?
7?
Well, that's probably your time then.
Got 2 different degrees though. Well, I guess, you just gotta be on the right list then.
There you go. No, you're thinking about that. If you know, it's like I've done for the grads this last, and then once for previous. So if you know kids and they might be not quite in the system of, you know, other kids knowing or whatever, let us know. We send them.
Thomas, do you want yours now?
I don't know, I just.
So just like, you don't went to a university or a tech school, like, if they're going to UConn College in Whitehurst, they can get something. It's just the community is letting the kids know we miss them and we want to.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, there's the stipulation.
That's sweet.
Gotcha.
Is that all? Well, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it. And thank you for coming. We do have a matter to discuss in camera, so we'll have to ask you to excuse us. If you wish to come back after, you can. But- okay, I think we'll just be adjourning after, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to go in camera?
I'll make a motion to go in camera.
Thank you.
We're stuck through here. Was.
I'll make,
Motion, sorry,
I'll make a motion to go in camera.
out of camera.
Or come out of the camera, sorry.
Second that.
Thank you.
And the motion.
Motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Thank you.